welcome to the Gaming Discourse. I am Tyler Frater alongside Richard Day the Cruz.
Hello.
And Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
Good evening.
It is Monday, August 19th, 2024. Follow us. Good YouTube doc. I've got it. Listen, let's just be frank tonight, okay? We've had some disorganization. We've had some miscommunication.
Mm-hmm. I
have a bit of a headache. And I am addicted to College Football 25.
Oh, no.
So what you need to do is go to Patreon and go to YouTube. And I'm not asking now. I'm telling you. Do these things. Okay? Do these, or I will make it illegal for you to play video games. I have the power. My dad works for Counter-Strike. It is possible.
Right. Yeah.
So go do that.
That might actually be possible. That's Counter-Strike money, man.
Yeah, the Counter-Strike money rules the world.
It just works.
Okay, and I'm making sure our soundboard works. It works, so we're all good. It is illegal to listen to this podcast unless you don't follow us as a religious acolyte would follow a cult somewhere. So just know that. YouTube.com, Gaming Discourse. Patreon.com, Gaming Discourse. Okay, we've got news. We've got games. Richard, Connor, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Tired.
Tired?
Yeah.
That's a common sentiment.
Make that three of us. No, that's okay. I'm excited to talk some games. I've just been playing College Football 25 a lot, and it's kind of a problem now because I was having fun with Alone in the Dark.
Oh,
and
okay.
I also got a PS5 copy of The Invincible, the sci-fi game that takes place on Mars, came out late last year. That I've been excited for and have wanted to play. But I just can't stop playing College Football 25. It's like I get to a point and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'll take a break for a few days, but let me just do my recruiting board real quick. And then it's like I get finished with my recruiting board for that week.
And then 8 hours have passed.
And then it's like, who do I play next? Oh, I'll just get a quick game in. I play that game. And it's like, okay, simulate to next week. I'll just do my recruiting board real quick. And it's just a vicious cycle. And then after a few hours, it's like, oh, look at that. I'm in the MAC championship game. I'll just win the championship real quick. And then I win. And I'm like, oh, I'm in the college football playoff. I might as well just spend the next few days seeing if I can win the chip, Yeah. And by the way, you are talking to a 2-time college football national championship champion. So I don't know if you guys want to. I'm a big deal. Do I have that somewhere? Is that?
No, it's no longer on the soundboard.
We took it away the one time I thought we could. I thought we'd be able to use it.
It hasn't been on the soundboard in over 2 years.
Oh, really?
Wow.
It has been probably close to 5 years since it's been on the soundboard.
Oh, wow. It's been that long, huh?
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm a big deal. People know me. But yeah, College Football 25, really fun. I have had some insane games. I wanted to tell you guys about the latest semifinal game I was in because it was like, and the thing is, it's completely realistic because games like this happen in college football all the time. But I played Kansas State, college football playoff. Kansas State is ranked, I think, 2. I'm ranked 5, so it's a top 5 matchup. I hate Kansas State personally because Oklahoma reasons. So I'm like,
okay.
If I'm going to lose to somebody, I don't want it to be to Kansas State.
Kansas above Oklahoma.
Yeah, and you know how you can remember that is why Oklahoma is so windy. I've told you this before because Kansas sucks and Texas blows. So anyway, so I was playing Kansas State and I'm like, okay, I don't want to lose to Kansas State. I hate these guys. I threw a couple interceptions early on. Kansas State was up like 21-7 at halftime. I think at some point they were up like 28-7. And I'm just like, I'm gonna have to push the ball downfield, and this just is gonna be like an insane amount of scoring that has to be done, right? So I'll speed up the process here. Through an insane collection of events, in the fourth quarter, I score, and it is now a tie ball game. I have come back with like a minute and a half left in the game. Okay. Interceptions, fumbles, like 70-yard touchdown pass, just insane comeback type stuff. And so I tied the game up, and I'm like, hell yeah. So I get the ball back. My defense gets to stop. I get the ball back, and I'm like, okay, I can drive down. I can kick a field goal. I can win this thing. Driving down. I threw an interception. Son of a bitch. So
Okay.
Kansas State gets it, and now they're near half the 50-yard line.
Okay.
So like, okay, so they're just gonna go down field and kick field goal. So they're about to go down, kick a field goal, interception, and not only did I intercept the ball, but it was a pick six because my cornerback was all alone.
Oh.
And I audibly said as I was running back with my cornerback, I can't believe this is happening, because I thought for sure I was about to lose the game. So I scored pick six, like a 70-yard run, pick six. I'm up, 20 seconds left on the clock. You kick the field goal, you play prevent defense, Bob's your uncle, and I'm going to the chip, right? So I kick down the guy, like 17 seconds left, prevent defense. One of my safeties, I guess, decided he was going to smoke and joke or something, because wide receiver goes over the top and somehow beats a prevent defense, and they score maybe with like 2 seconds left. And so they score, and they tie the ball game up in the last few seconds of the game to force it into overtime. And I want you to understand how annoying that is. To be the prevent defense stops one thing, and that's deep passes. So imagine, like, I'm not even sure. Imagine making a dam, and you're like, the point of this dam is to block water, and then the 1 ounce of water hits that dam, and the entire thing crumbles. That's how annoying that is. So Kansas State ties, going to overtime. I win the coin toss. I pick defense. You pick defense in overtime because the ball alternates. So it's easier to pick defense, because then you know if the offense kicks a field goal, then you know you got to score a touchdown to win, or kick a field goal to keep it going. If they don't do anything, you have to kick a field goal to win. So I picked defense. My defense held. They kicked a field goal. I was like, hell yeah. I went out on the field, and just a magnificent play call. So it's 3rd and goal. So I've done a couple things. I've gotten down to 3rd and goal. I have a shotgun play. Shotgun, back is set to the right side of me, of my quarterback. And then I have 4 wide receivers, a standard shotgun call. But one play I like doing is a direct snap to the running back. So instead of to the quarterback handing off to the running back, it's direct snap to the running back, and he just runs off the edge. And this is an effective short yardage play, because if the AI sees me in shotgun and they see that I have wide receivers, so they can't
expect to defend those.
They can't line up in like a goal line defense. They have to respect those receivers, so they have to put guys on the edges. And then if they do man coverage, that's great, because my receivers are gonna block anyway, so they just go straight into blocking. So anyway, I called the play, perfectly blocked, a direct snap into the end zone. I win. The most insane comeback overtime game of all time. And then I went on and beat Florida in the national championship game. But
The Gators,
yeah. But yeah, College Football 25. Very fun. It's the second. I've played 4 seasons now, and I lost the national championship against Clemson 1 year. So I've been to 3 straight, won 2, lost 1. And then I just started my 5th season, and I beat Ohio State at Ohio State, and that game was insane too, but we don't have to get into it. But yeah, I'm still having fun, and yeah, it's a problem, because it's just, I can't seem to break away from it. I'm just not getting bored of it. I'm not getting bored of expanding my offense and learning like new things and getting better at making reads and stuff like that, getting better at calling defenses. One thing that I've learned is how to, it's all about remembering like all the tiny button presses. It's like when I go back and play VTOL every few months, I have to relearn. It's like, how do I lock an air-to-air missile again? It's like I have to go through like a bunch of steps, and it's the same kind of thing in football games. It's like, how do I want to do this, but what are the buttons that I have to press for this? So it's like I've learned how. So one thing I like doing is on 3rd and short, I'll run man coverage across the board, but I bring up my corners and defensive backs into press coverage, which is what you're supposed to do. And the reason you do that is because in a short yardage situation, usually in man, you can back off like 5 yards away from your guy, and then if you're a cornerback, that means the receiver is going to run, and you can kind of react to where he's going to go, right? So you're going to give him 5 yards, but he's not going to get behind you, and you get time to react. Press coverage is you're right up on the line. So as soon as he moves, you're going to shove him, and you're going to stay on him. But what that does is it negates short yardage gains, right? Now the danger is it's harder to cover like that. because that cornerback has to press and then has to catch up with the receiver as the receiver starts to run their route. So it can be dangerous to stay in that too much. But like, so I've learned how to call defenses and how to call like a man coverage, a blitz, man across the board, blitz the linebackers, and then call up press coverage and stuff like that, which has helped. Offense is cool. There's some of the formations are bugged and it's really annoying. There's a formation called flexbone that I like a lot. That's sort of an old school formation. You run a lot of like jet sweeps, which is where like a wide receiver or running back motions, and then in the middle of the motion the play is snapped, and the quarterback turns around and catches the receiver in mid motion. So it's why it's called jet. It happens really quick. But there's also a fullback. So it's an interesting formation because the quarterback is under center. There's a fullback lined up behind him, and then you have receivers and backs on the outside. And what that does is, because it's an even formation that you can go from to the outside, to the edges, or to the middle, the defense has to cover all of that. They have to put guys to the outside, they have to put guys to the edges, and they have to put guys in the middle, because you can run to any of those sides, because the formation does not have a strength. Like some formations have a tight end to one side, which means you have center, guard, tackle.
Right.
And then if the tight end's on one side, that's the strength of the formation. So the defense shifts to that strength, right? But in flexbone, there is no strength. It's an even formation, which means the defense cannot shift its load to one side or the other. It has to play it even as well. And so that's a good defense. That's a good offense to use, because let's say I'm going to run jet sweep and the defense lines up and they're deciding, okay, we're going to guard the outside more. Then I can check to fullback dive, which is right up the middle with my fullback. So I can react. And if they put a bunch of nose tackles in the middle and cover my center, then I'll check to the sweep and hope that I can get the edge. So it's something where I react to how the defense is going to line up. However, there was a recent update which may have fixed this, I don't know, but it's bugged in a really weird way where if you run a fullback dive, the quarterback takes it up the middle. Like I've shown Connor this.
Okay.
And it's not like quarterback sneak. He teleports to one side or the other really quickly and runs up the middle. First time it happened, it scared the hell out of me because my quarterback just Leroy Jenkins did. And two linebackers, he got like 6 yards, but two linebackers just annihilated him.
Go get him, champ.
And I was like, okay, thank you for the yardage, but I would like you not to die, so let's not do that.
We need you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in the back of his head, the quarterback kept hearing Order 227.
I don't know that reference.
Oh, not one step back. Any cowards will be shot.
But anyway, so I don't know if they fixed that formation, but it's a real bummer because it's a cool formation and it's fun to run. But yeah, if it's broken like that, you're constantly putting your quarterback in a situation where he could just get absolutely gobsmacked by an enthusiastic linebacker. So that's all I've been playing. Yeah, Central Michigan. They start at a 1.5 star school. That's their prestige ranking.
Okay.
And I have them up to 3 stars now, I think. So 2 national championships, a national championship appearance, and now it's like now 5-star and 4-star recruits are like interested in my school.
Okay, that's great.
So now it's like I'm picking the momentum up there.
So when will your goal be completed? Like it already is completed, you're just in the motions now?
So I think what I eventually want to do is build Central Michigan into a powerhouse, get it to where it's like every year they start ranked somewhere in the top 5, top 10, get them to maybe a 4.5 or 5-star prestigious school, which means a couple more national championships, and then eventually my alma mater in the game.
At Roast Beef Tech and beat them.
no, I am at Roast Beef Tech right now.
Oh, fair.
This would be a Roast Beef Tech. But after a few years, I'll have the weepy press conference where one day someone calls me and it's like, hey, this is Bud Jenkins, Oklahoma AD. Listen, you need to come. I'm playing out a fantasy in my head.
Yeah, of course.
You need to come be the head coach. And then it's Central Michigan's been my home 15 years. But home's, do one of those press conferences and then go there and build Oklahoma into the national and play a couple of years there and win some natties. And then after that, I'll probably get tired of college football 25. I don't know. But yeah, it's in older NCAA games, when you would do that in Dynasty mode, sometimes that team, if you built them into a powerhouse, they would stay a powerhouse.
Because they don't lose or anything?
That momentum would carry over.
Going. Okay.
Even after you left as a head coach. So, like, in my super long, stupid Dynasty on NCAA 10, which I got because you have a guy, I was the coach of the Maryland Terps for a long time. And I built them into a powerhouse and like 5-star school. And then I went and coached Hawaii, but now like every year they're a top 10 school just because of that momentum I built up with them. So build Central Michigan to a point where it's like a top 10 school or something like that. And then eventually go to Oklahoma and, you know, be the savior and bring national championships back home. But anyway, okay. That's my College Football 25 spiel. Connor, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a lot of the show 24.
Nice.
Get ready for more sports. I started my White Sox franchise, and that is a struggle, let me tell you.
Yeah, because this year the White Sox
are terrible.
Yes, even though they almost beat the Yankees.
They are on track for being the worst team in MLB history.
Yes, they were very bad.
But my White Sox are not. In spring training, I picked up Jimmy Nelson, who is a relief pitcher with a disgusting knuckle curve.
Oh, nice.
And JD Martinez out of free agency, who's been who I have in left field. So he's doing really well as a cleanup hitter.
How's he doing in left field?
Fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I mean, right now he's a designated hitter for the Mets, but he was a right fielder, I think, beforehand.
I don't remember. That sounds right. He's probably a right fielder because he played
for
the Diamondbacks and before that the Red Sox, right? So
yeah, he's played, I think, each outfield position. He's an outfielder.
Yeah.
So he's doing fine in left field. And then made some other moves with minor league players, just trying to salvage something with the bullpen and the pitching rotation, which is abysmal. But it is near the end of May right now in my game, and I am doing better than the White Sox are in real life, so I'm happy about that. One of the really nice features of the show 24 is they have like a drop-in simulation mode where you can set the parameters where it gives you the option to drop in. So I only jump into the game if it's like 8th or 9th inning it's really tight. It's a really close game. So I have very little control outside of that. I'll occasionally go down into the minor leagues for my stars that are being developed down there and do a player locked game on them where I'm only playing as them in the game and just getting them better reps than they would get normally with simulated games. I'm not going to make the playoffs this season. I'm not going to the postseason. It's right near the end of May, and I have 20 wins. So the playoffs are not in my future. But I'm probably going to be close to 500, which is so much better than the White Sox are doing right now.
So do you know off the top of your head in your game what JD Martinez is hitting right now?
He's hitting 280, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is
with some power,
tearing it up. Yeah, he is tearing it up.
So are you gonna dangle him come trade deadline? Maybe.
I don't know. It depends. I have a right fielder coming up in Double A right now who is just lighting up Double A, and I have a shortstop who's lighting up the Triple A. So, I have decent fielders right now. Like I have a solid outfield, so I might use that Double A player as a bargaining chip for some pitchers, because God, the White Sox rotation is awful. In sports games, players get rankings. The only pitcher that the White Sox started with that is above a 72 is Garrett Crochet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. they're outside of they're starting pitchers. They're middle relievers. They're a mixed bag of awful and some good pitches in there, but you can only throw in so many middle relievers into a game, and then they have one good closer. So he's been getting a lot of time on the mound in dire situations.
Nice. Okay. Well, how do you like the franchise mode in 24 so far?
It's really fun. One of the things that I didn't know that was part of this game, you could set up sponsorships for like replays and like the ticker at the bottom of the screen, because they have a live ticker for events that are going on in the games that are being played. So you get like updates when Goldschmidt was closing in on 2,000 hits at the start of the season, and so was who else? There's two players that were closing in on 2,000 hits, and so like occasionally in games, there'll be a little ticker across the bottom that says, Paul Goldschmidt's now at like 1967 hits, and it's like he's getting close to that 2,000 mark. So it's that with like being able to throw out sponsorships to give you more money to draft players and trade players. It's interesting. Interesting franchise. I don't think I've played a franchise baseball game since I think we had a baseball game on the PS2.
Yeah. It's been a while. Sure.
Yeah.
What's interesting about in the past 2 years in college football, because of a Supreme Court ruling and a few other things, players can make money off of their name, image, and likeness now. Mm-hmm. And so schools have collectives, NIL collectives, where it's part of recruiting. Is we're going to recruit you and we can give you this much money to play for us. And I think that's a good thing, because no one turns on the TV because they want to see the athletic director. All these TV contracts happen because Alabama has players that people want to watch, Mm-hmm. But that is totally absent from Dynasty mode in College Football 25. And I don't know if they have said why, but I think you can tell that it feels like I forget. I don't remember what developer. If it was the developers that do Madden, Turban.
Oh, I have no clue.
Forget. I don't know if it was them if it was like another team that made College Football 25 or not, but you can tell they're not really sure what to do with NIL, because it's not in Dynasty mode. So there's no NIL negotiation when you're recruiting, none of that. But it is in the Road to Glory, where you play as one player. It's kind of in that, but not like super. So It clearly exists. And I don't think College Football 25 totally understands how to handle it. Now, in the game's defense, nobody really knows what to do with it right now, especially in real life. It's kind of a Wild West because it's this new thing that everyone's dealing with and stuff. But I did find that interesting. I would love a Dynasty mode where it's like, and I think some people find it crass because it's like we're talking about kids and stuff and money. And yeah, I mean, there's unsavoriness to be had there, but at the same time, like these games and these television contracts, like if you feel bad about a guy, if it ever makes your stomach turn a little bit that a quarterback is negotiating money to play at a school, just remember that some old crusty white guy somewhere negotiated a TV contract and you're never going to see him and no one turns on the TV because of him. So it's just like, and he's the one making a ton of money and he shouldn't be. So it's just like, just remember that there are other unsavory things going on to a higher magnitude, I think. But it'd be interesting in later versions of the college football game if they're able to have you use NIL to make that into a game, like a gameplay mechanic somehow. Anything else, Connor?
I don't think so. I will keep you guys updated on how the season progresses.
Nice. Okay. And on to a World Series championship next year.
Oh, definitely.
Richard.
I went to the arcade last week and I played a couple things, two of which were probably the most interesting. And the first one was a more recent House of the Dead that came out. in
Okay.
2018. I forgot what it was called. It's House of the Dead. There's no number to it anymore, like there was with the other 4. There's more than 4, but numbered ones. And I was playing it with my wife, and it's awful. It's a bad House of the Dead game, which there's fun to be had with the House of the Dead games, all of them. And the first 2 are known for having like really bad voice acting, but it wasn't bad due to the sense that like they did it on purpose. It was bad because they didn't have money. Like it was Sega in the like 90s, so they just kind of like did so. It was just unintentionally funny. And so now it's quite remembered, you know, as this really, you know, neat funny thing. But the voice acting in this one is really, really bad. But it's very obvious that it was done on purpose.
Oh.
And you could just immediately like sniff it out like right away. So
Yeah.
it was very, very tough to listen to while you're playing it. But they have it kind of felt like I was playing a World War Z arcade game instead of House of the Dead, because House of the Dead, obviously zombies come at you every now and again, you shoot them, but this one was just like waves and waves of zombies coming at you, and so your job is to kind of just mow them down because you have a machine gun. But it felt weird because the machine gun had no feedback on it.
Oh, it had no like haptics.
Yeah, no
recoil.
haptics. Yeah, right, a recoil. Yeah,
Okay.
So I didn't know if I was hitting anything, and there was no. I don't recall any sounds happening to indicate that I was hitting something.
Interesting.
So zombies were kind of just blowing up in front of me.
I mean, that's part of the fun of an arcade machine is
I
the
said-
whole tactile.
Yeah,
You know.
right.
Yeah.
They definitely had like the stupid. Like 40 like X, the like wind blowing on you and stuff
Nice.
like that. Yeah, they had all of that stuff. But and you chose like each of the characters chose different like 2 extra special items to take with you into the match, or the level, which lasted like it's you might as well not take anything because you use them so quickly and they don't do anything for you. That it ended up being fun in the sense that it was terrible, but I also am kind of disappointed that we haven't gotten anything like substantial from that series. Not that we need to, but since in 2008 or 2018, we haven't had one since then, and I think they could do better. I really do.
House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn.
Scarlet Dawn, yes, that was it. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was it. Anyways. And they also do weird stuff with House of the Dead. This one was like in between several of the games, but I don't know which one because they don't indicate which one it is. And so they will, at the end of the game, I read up on it. At the end of the game, they'll say, be continued in other House of the Deads because it's like an interquel.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me that they're still keeping track of a story.
I suppose so, because I do remember years ago when I went to GameWorks for like a free play night, I beat House of the Dead 4. And at the end of that one, I remember it very vividly because I was so pissed when it happened. It said to be continued in House of the Dead 3,
Oh no.
the one before it. So, which was like locked to the Xbox, the original Xbox. So it's like, oh. So I played that one. That one's fun. And then I ended up, partially the reason why I went to this arcade is because I started to gamble because they had Castlevania Marble of Souls. And so it's a very, very fun and useless coin pusher game.
Nice.
But with marbles.
Uh-huh.
But obviously it's Castlevania themed, so I had to play it. And instead of you gain tickets, but you also gain cards that have the characters on them.
Okay.
And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put those cards inside of the machine as you get them, and they'll collect up. And if you get a certain amount of them, basically create suits, like in a deck of cards,
Oh,
like
sure.
you create like
Okay.
suits. You would get like endings involving those characters and whatnot, like on the little TV screen that they have. But they took that ability away for the arcade, so you basically will just get these cards and you go turn them into the desk, and like you get more tokens, or not tokens, more credits.
Okay.
But and I did get a lot of them. I actually ended up, it must have known I was like Castlevania fan or something, because I did very well. And so I was very happy. So I got almost one of each one, and I took them. I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna go. But I gave the rest to them and got more tickets. But I took those ones, and So I have them at home right now,
Nice.
but I did not get the 3 rarest ones. I will try again.
Nice.
I know I will try again, but it was fun and stupid. But I had fun doing that. After that though, I came home and I started playing Cult of the Lamb.
Okay.
They came out with their co-op update. And I have not played a ton of it. I played about 3 or 4 hours. And I like it a lot. I think it's a really fun game. I think it's super charming with its aesthetic. The little like noises the animals make. How dumb they can be sometimes. Just with their like their actions and their voice line, like what they ask you to do or what they expect of you as a cult leader or whatnot. And the juggling between going out and doing the roguelike elements and then coming back and doing the like life sim elements is handled really, really well. I was kind of expecting, I don't want to say to hate it, but I was expecting that one or the other would disappoint me in some way, but they found a way to keep it kind of even across the board. My wife has played a lot more than I have, and I'm glad she's gotten into it, but we were supposed to play together, and she's like far surpassed what I've done. So.
Is Cult of the Lamb the same developer as The Binding of Isaac?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Oh, okay.
It is not. I don't know the developer, but
I don't remember either. But I know they have similar.
I'm sure Connor will get that for us.
Similar elements. Connor, look it up, Connor. Bring it up, Connor. Bring it up for us, Connor.
I'm just not ready. Like I'm supposed to be talking, but I'm here like. But yeah, I was playing that one. And then I haven't done much else, but I will tell you, I have shooters out there on the streets that listen to this podcast.
Okay.
And I heard you guys were talking shit about Genshin Impact. So, I just want to let you know that I'm here to talk shit about Genshin Impact too, because they're pissing me off.
What did we talk about? Oh no, that was because there was an op-ed in gamesindustry.biz we talked about last week, and the op-ed was like why it was talking about Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail and that other weird anime GTA game that
Everness to Ever.
That one is talking about sort of that market and what's going on and stuff like that. But the op-ed was like weird because it kind of swept like crunch under the rug. It was like, hey, you want to know why all this stuff is going on? Why so many of these games are being made so quickly? Well, first because of crunch, but also because it's just like, wait, hold on.
I got no doubt there's crunch going on over there. Yeah. But yeah, I really am stuck in a weird position regarding Genshin Impact because a game that I hold dear to my heart for specific reasons, got me through COVID and a bunch of other stuff. Their recent decisions and recent update coming out has kind of soured things as a whole. I'm sure you may have heard possibly, but it's not making as big as news as I think. But 5.0 is coming out soon, and this is the introduction of a new nation, which the last nation was Fontaine, which was France. The nation before was Sumeru, which was like India, the Middle East-ish. I think Turkish, and
so like East Asia, that sort of region of. I'm not sure what that region would be considered.
Yeah, West Asia. I don't know.
Oh no, yeah, West Asia.
Anyways,
yes, so we know what we're talking about. We're Americans. We know geography.
Yeah,
okay,
right. So we had a little bit of this controversy regarding Sumeru, and is that or will you depict characters in a certain light? Because if you're paying attention to nations and you're paying attention to the cultures and stuff, we also expect you to do the same regarding characters. And they didn't really pass, but it wasn't really it was kind of okay, well, we'll see what happens with the next nation coming up. And this next nation is Natlin, and it's completely based off of Hawaii, South America, and parts of Africa.
Oh, okay.
And so they revealed the trailer and they revealed the characters. All of them are white. They're all white. But not just that, but certain characters like the Archon, the god of that nation, is specifically named after a Maori god.
Okay, yeah.
And is like this white woman, and it's okay.
I can see how that could upset people.
Yeah, there's one who's literally named after an African god, white guy, like a white teen twink guy. You know, they're like NPCs are lighter skinned with like cornrows and stuff like that. Like there was a recent update that was like the Hawaii portion was like, this is a great vacation spot, and it's like, okay, like please have a little more like substance when it comes to this. So it was very, very. I don't normally get, I'm not going to say offended, but affected by these things. But I do think that if you are going to take inspirations from all these other nations that you've given lots of respect to in some instances, at least do it for the one that is most important, probably.
Yeah.
And they didn't. However, I don't know if this is true or not. One of the main people in Hoyoverse, the CEO, I think the chairman CEO, who like kind of word is he was known for making final decisions or changing things for the worse, has stepped down recently in like the last like couple weeks. So I don't know if that'll change anything. But apparently he is the cause for a lot of issues that Genshin has had. So I don't know. But right now I'm in this weird position of where it's just like, I don't, from Toy Story, like, I don't want to play with you anymore, you know? Yeah. And then I have like Zenless and like Honkai that it's like filling that void.
Sure.
And X Defiant. No, I haven't played that in like a month. So I'm kidding. But yeah, no, that's my beef with Genshin Impact right now. And that's why I haven't played it. So
interesting. Okay. I have not heard that about Genshin Impact.
Yeah. It's, I mean,
I did download it and play it a little bit the other week. Yeah.
Got a lot of pop-ups, I bet.
I ran around for a bit, killed some oozes.
Oh yeah, some little slimes.
Yeah, I met the chick in the red. Who's like your first party member. I wanted to play a little bit of it before we talked about it that night, just because I've never played it. I've only seen gameplay footage. So I was like, I need to actually sit down and play this.
That's sorry, we're talking about this a lot, and I feel bad for talking about Genshin so much, but it's a rough place to be if you want to play Genshin right now, because it's that first whole area. I don't know if you can tell, but it's the wheels to get them turning is very, very rough. So it's like the wheels aren't smoothed out yet, so your car can go.
Interesting.
So like that first area and like the introduction phase, like kind of a slog before like everything else kind of opens up for you. So I don't know if you feel that or if it feels like
I didn't play very much of it. Yeah. So
gotcha.
Wouldn't really know. The last arcade machine I played was the Halo one.
Yeah, that was there.
It's called like Hawk Team Raven
Hawk
Team? No, not that. I don't know what that is. I've heard this multiple times. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
It's not a NSFW thing. It's an NSFW thing.
Is it that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a family podcast, so we can't fucking talk about that shit, can we?
No, we can't.
No, but it's like it's like Raven Team, like Fire Team Raven. I think is the Halo one, and I played that, and I was like, oh, this is kind of neat.
Yeah, there's that one was there, and that looked cool. Japan gets a lot of that stuff that we don't get, and they got like a Half-Life one.
And they got the Metal Gear Solid.
Was there? I didn't know. The Metal Gear Online. Yeah.
Well, but remember because Konami had this period where they were like, all we're gonna do is pachinko machines because we're geniuses, and then everybody hated them, and now they decided to do stuff with their IPs again. But that interim, they did like the HD version of Metal Gear Solid 3. They redid the cutscenes, and it was for a pachinko machine. Yeah. So I was just bringing that up as that's not an arcade shooter, but
gotcha. Yeah,
a similar thing. It's an arcade.
They do have a Silent Hill shooter.
Oh, pull the lever. No, that's the pachinko machine. Sorry.
Is it?
I don't know if you. That's the one where Pyramid Head like slams his sword down and it says "pull the lever." Like
sick.
But anyway, okay. Are we?
Yeah, we're ready to move.
Go ahead, Connor.
Cult of the Lamb, developed by Massive Monster.
Okay.
And I looked up House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn, and the only quote-unquote official review I could find of it was by IMDb.
Oh, wow.
Which gave it a 7.
Okay.
Of course it gave it a 7. So is it good? We don't know. It's the most mysterious number.
No, because the only thing to give it a review was IMDb.
That's true. Yeah. I would pay 25 cents to play it, but like whatever credits like equal out to, it's like Xbox Live Marketplace points now. Like you get 150 credits. This one is like 12.7 credits. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know how much I have left.
Right.
Some of them were. It was weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pi credits.
3.145. None.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
So how many arcade machines have you finished all the way through?
Oh my gosh. That's a really good question.
Okay, see, I'm actually okay, this is how stupid I am. I one time, me and a guy, I had this weird one day for you ever meet a person, you're hanging out with somebody and like this other person comes along, you hang out with that person all day and then you like never see them again.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those experiences with this other dude, and we played the Rambo 3 game, and we beat that game in one sitting. It only took us like an hour.
Those are the same guys who did Terminator and RoboCop.
Oh, okay, interesting. But anyway, that I was gonna say, like, I've beaten an arcade machine before.
That's cool.
But apparently, you're the platinum gamer though, so you're like, oh, I've got to spend $500 to beat this arcade machine. So.
I've played, I mean, I've beaten a lot of fighting games.
Okay.
They
I didn't
take
know
a
you
lot of
could
quarters.
beat fighting games.
You can,
Yeah.
yeah, you can.
They don't fight back much, so it's not hard to beat them.
Depends on what tools you bring.
Yeah.
You unplug it from the wall, it dies real quick.
You win.
Those clowns that you throw balls at, I've knocked them all down. So that's
Really?
Yeah. Gotten every skee ball into every hole.
Nice. Very impressive. Okay, I'm hitting the ad. Thanks for listening. If you like our content, please consider subscribing or leaving a like and comment. You can find us at patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. And our tiers are $2, $4, $7, and $10 and include getting your name in the video credits, early access, and access to our Discord server. Meta has put San Andreas VR on indefinite hold. This was in a comment to IGN. Meta confirmed that San Andreas VR, like I said, was put on indefinite hold. Was first announced back in October 2021, and we never saw any official gameplay of it. They were also responding to comments on the trailer for Behemoth, on Meta's Behemoth trailer on their YouTube channel. I thought that was weird that they were responding to like comments on the Behemoth trailer about
the social media manager just at that point in time was like, I'm gonna watch the Behemoth trailer.
yeah, he's like, I'll answer these comments. What the hell? You know, like,
yeah, that's not happening.
Well, let me just break this news real quick in an obscure comment section. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. We talked about Meta a couple weeks ago. We've talked about Meta, like the closing of Ready at Dawn, which we didn't get to discuss with you. So if you want to sort of voice your opinion on that.
I mean, not much of an opinion. It's just very I hate when a studio, Tango is the most recent one that closed down, and now I guess they're reopened again. But that just does nothing but really good things, and then someone decides to make that non-existent, all of a sudden. And Ready at Dawn was one of those studios where I don't know why, but every time they made a game, it was always better than expected. And I felt like they could do more. And when they became just a VR only studio, I mean, I can't say I wasn't. I was disappointed for sure, but because I don't think I've played any of their VR stuff. But I have played like their 2 PSP games for the God of War series were very, very good. Right? Yeah, and Ghost of Sparta. Daxter was really good that they did. It was a spin-off of Jack and Daxter. Of course, they did
The Order.
The Order, 1886, which
I think a lot of people look back on that in a different light than
I don't. That game fucking sucked now. I hated the story, but the game itself was very good.
I think it's been rehabilitated to. I think there were things about it that were really neat and really original.
Yes.
And had some really cool ideas and deserves a sequel. Like, I don't know if there can be a sequel. I don't know the story. But at the same time, I do think some of the rehabilitation is like, okay, calm down. It was a good game. It wasn't like this diamond in the rough that everyone is rediscovering as being the greatest game ever made or anything like that. Because I remember some of the writing being, they were trying to do like Sense and Sensibility writing, and they were trying way too hard, you know, with like the like Victorian like formal, I don't know. So it's like there's that. I remember the audio being weird, but at the same time, just the way that your characters looked, the sort of I keep saying Victorian. What is 1880s Victorian?
Yeah,
or is that
yes.
Victorian? Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't remember if it was Victorian or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But that look similar to in some senses to like Bloodborne, right? Streets of London, lots of fog, hunting. You got these like early sci-fi weapons, right?
Yeah, Tesla-esque. Very
Yeah, and
Tesla-esque.
you're kind of
well, he is in the game. So.
hunting down the werewolves and stuff like that.
It's
So
a very cool concept. Yeah.
very neat concept, yeah. And I think a lot of people would want like a sequel today. It's one of those games.
I think I would love to have a sequel for sure. Yeah. I just think they would have to fix some of the writing.
Yes,
because there was just incredible plot hole. It's just the whole
if you remember what it was, you can say it.
The whole conflict hinged on the fact that one of the members of the Order, I think it was Galahad.
I remember him. Wasn't he the main character?
Sorry, it wasn't Galahad. It was his leader. His leader was talking with the werewolves because there was conspiracy going on at the top of the Order.
Okay.
And there's a part where Galahad literally sees him talking to a werewolf in an alleyway, and then like they stop or like they go somewhere else or whatever, and like his partner comes up and is like, "Whoa, what's the matter?" And he's like, "It's nothing." And it's like, dude, like, and that literally is the reason why everything falls apart from that point on. And it's like,
interesting.
Like, that's a pretty fucking big deal. You should probably say something.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I need to go back and play that again. I think I still have it, but
probably do.
And yeah, what was their VR game? Oh, shoot. Lone Echo. Lone Echo was one of the big titles that launched with the Rift, and it had Lone Echo, the multiplayer, Lone Echo, Echo VR, Echo Arena. That was really popular when it first came out. But Lone Echo, when it first came out, was really neat because it played with a lot of cool ideas. You moved around a space station, and you moved by grabbing things because it was 0G.
Yeah.
So you moved by like grabbing handles and walls and propelling yourself forward and stuff like that. So you were kind of climbing through space, and it had some cool visuals, and you were like floating. It took place near, like, right on top of Saturn's ring. So it was this really neat visual where you'd go outside the space station and you'd be at Saturn's ring. You could see it go all the way into a giant Saturn right there. Wow. And that's a really neat visual, especially early on in VR. I have Lone Echo 2. I have not played it. That's something I probably should play. But yeah, it's too bad. And I'll just say what I said last week. I refuse to believe that Ready at Dawn needed to shut so
I agree.
So Meta could keep operating.
I agree.
That's bullshit. Meta. Anyway, now we'll talk more about Meta's, I think, misappropriating of VR talent and VR potential here. Because I think San Andreas VR is a concept that could work. It would just be difficult to work. But it's a concept that could work, so I don't know why it was sitting in VR in development for so long. I don't doubt that it was difficult because there's a lot of things that you have to figure out, like getting in cars and stuff like that, jacking cars,
driving
whatever.
Cars, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I remember every time there's been a question about VR where it's like, can VR do this? A game has answered that yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, can VR do a big, long RPG with a ton of menus? I wondered that once. And then I played something like, what's the game? That had...
Into the Radius?
No, not Into the Radius. Oh, well, Into the Radius is a good... Actually, that's a good
Asgard's
example
Wrath.
there. Asgard's Wrath, thank you. You play Asgard's Wrath, and you're like, oh, yeah, I can. You've got tons of menus, crafting.
Ruins Magus has tons of menus, too.
Ruins Magus is another good example. And it's like, okay, well, can VR handle like getting in and out of cars and stuff? And then you play the Half-Life 2 VR mod, and it's like, oh yeah, works perfectly.
Yeah.
Screen goes blank, you wake up, you're in a car. You get out, screen goes blank, you wake up, you're standing outside. works totally perfectly. So it's like there are solutions for these weird issues that it's just you sometimes have to be creative with them, and stuff like that. And I think, I don't know, it poses a lot of interesting questions about like accessibility. How would you handle accessibility in an open world game like GTA, where the enemies are not made to work with teleportation in mind, right? Because unless you were to rebuild it from the ground up or something, they were just third-person enemies.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that I don't doubt that it was a difficult thing to figure out. And if it got stuck in like development hell and they kept having to prototype to figure out how to work certain things or how to make certain mechanics work in VR, that would be too bad. But I again, as with Ready at Dawn, I doubt that Meta just couldn't support them financially, and it couldn't support the game financially at all. I just refuse to believe that. And I think what we're seeing from Meta right now is a company that is sort of focusing on other things, is focusing on AI, whatever the hell that means, is focusing on its Ray-Ban glasses. I think it sees retention with its headsets.
Yeah.
Not in a spot that it wants it to be. I think Zuckerberg's metaverse vision was never a thing, and now it's still continuing to not be a thing, and it doesn't look like it's going to pick up any momentum to become a thing. And VR was sort of a part of that, so now it's like, well, what do we do with VR? I don't know. I guess we just keep putting games and just wind it down. So I don't know. It's just it's too bad because, and I've said this a lot, Meta is not a good shepherd for VR gaming, because they're not a gaming company, and that's not what they're focused on. It was a means to a larger end, and now we're in this position, and it's too bad. Yeah.
Now, I was about to piggyback on that and talk about the possibility of the dev for San Andreas VR, like kind of just biting off more than they could chew. But looking at who's developing it, the Video Games Deluxe, they're the ones who did the LA Noire case files, the VR case files, which, is a more, not that it matters too much, it's a graphically more intensive game, but LA Noire, in some instances, is quite similar to Grand Theft Auto. Not one-to-one, of course, I understand that, but yeah, they would have to figure out things like, how an enemy would react to teleportation. In a lot of games, when you have when you can climb something, they have an automated animation. But
like Battlefield,
right? But Grand Theft Auto's animations for climbing way slower.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, would you have to fine tune that? How would you work that? And so there's a lot of questions we won't get answers for, obviously. But it is disappointing to hear this, because that was a very big announcement that they had made several years back. And I think that I will say that they needed to follow through on it, because once again, VR has not had something to get people
viral.
excited for.
Yeah.
Yes. And you could say Asgard's Wrath 2, they really pushed that, and it did get very good reviews,
but
it's not something that
people didn't talk about it a whole lot.
And what you need, unfortunately, I think, is you need to give something familiar to people so they can come back to it. And San Andreas was a very big one. I do think it goes back to the conversation we always have. Make an older game VR compatible. And there's a lot that aren't being put at the forefront. Half-Life 2 should always be put at the forefront, I think, the VR mod. And I know it's a lot more work for people to the normal person to go through to get that running, but it's worth it in the end. So we just got to see what they do next, because we're not at a point in VR where you can just kind of let it coast and everything will be okay. There still needs to be something. And there's been bright spots, but
yeah, and there's a lot on the horizon. 6 months ago, it was, what are the big VR games? And now we have the Metro game coming up. Into the Radius 2 is launched on Steam, if you liked the first one. And Into the Radius has a PlayStation port coming out soon.
They just announced the remake of Arizona Sunshine.
There's the remake of Arizona Sunshine. So Behemoth. the Alien game coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
There's Aces of Thunder. Have you seen Aces of Thunder?
No,
It's made by the people that made War Thunder.
pilots? Yeah.
It's World War II dogfighting. Looks really cool. It looks like a game where it's hands-on, so you can't control the airplane with a controller. You've got your throttle, your flight stick.
Oh, very cool.
So kind of like VTOL. So that would be really neat if that's good. So there are a lot of VR games coming out soon that I think could inject some of that excitement. But yes, you are correct. I think it takes a big VR has never, the peak of people talking about VR was Half-Life Alyx. And that's because Half-Life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think, VR needs some kind of, Resident Evil could be that, but that's been delegated, whatever the word is, to
PSVR.
PlayStation. Yeah. Unless you get the Quest.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have this like big multi-platform release where people are all playing it, on whatever it's like on these individual platforms. And yeah, you could probably through mods play Resident Evil VR on the PC, but that's not that you don't see that on the Steam homepage.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think people, maybe I'm totally wrong about this, but I think people underestimate how big of a deal it is just for games to scroll past storefronts when you're browsing them. Right?
Absolutely.
Just for you to know that they exist.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how big of a deal that can be. Because it puts things in the public's mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sets things, and then you know that it exists to some level. I guess I'm just describing advertising. But what I was trying to get to was like something like Asgard's Wrath 2.
Right.
It was Quest exclusive, Quest 2, Quest 3 exclusive. But imagine is the conversation different if for a day Steam's homepage is Asgard's Wrath 2 available now, and it had that box where players are streaming it or whatever, right? Like that's a big deal because millions of people log into Steam every day, right? And how many people with a headset that never touch it, if they logged into Steam that day, they'd say, hey, it's $40, $50.
Looks kind of cool.
Looks awesome. I'll try this out. Yeah. And how many people would say, I'm not going to buy it for $50, but in 2 months when there's a Steam summer sale, I'll pick it up and it gets discount. And so they pick it. And so it's like, it's a part of that ecosystem that when you relegate it to the PlayStation or when you relegate it to a headset that has a company that doesn't really care about VR gaming, I think that hurts its overall viewability and discovery and stuff like that. And I think that has hurt the market. Assassin's Creed Nexus is the same thing. I heard really good things about Assassin's Creed Nexus, but it was a Quest exclusive. And I think that was because this could be wrong as well, but my speculation is Meta came to Ubisoft and said, here's a bunch of money, we're going to make it exclusive. And Ubisoft said, oh, okay. And then Ubisoft was surprised that it didn't sell because it was on a headset with lacking user retention because it's a stupid company. Instead of saying, you know what, Meta, you can have it on, but we're also going to put it on Steam, which is one of the most active like player bases in the world outside of mobile gaming, right?
Yeah.
Like hardcore, where people are like every day looking for games to buy. So anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely a frequent thing.
Yeah. So it's like if you would have done that, Ubisoft, and I don't know. Sorry, Ubisoft annoys me. Fire you, Shimon. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. That is an interesting problem though, is like how to fit a game like San Andreas into VR. But every time I've wondered, can you do this in VR? Someone has come and said, here's a game where you do that stuff. So there are solutions. It's just you kind of just have to figure out those solutions and go from there. That's easy to say. Implementing it is difficult, obviously. Game development's super hard. You look like you were going to say something. No. Okay, moving on here. So there wasn't a ton of news this week, and I was looking for stuff to talk about. And I saw this story that there is a rumor that Red Dead Redemption is coming to PC. And I was like, oh my God, this is huge news. Why don't I see it everywhere? And for some reason, it popped up, but it was a story from May on PC Gamer. And I was like,
okay.
oh, that's weird. It's like, I thought this was from today, but no, it was apparently from May. Anyway, long story short, there's speculation from a GTA data miner that Red Dead Redemption was going to come to the PC. But the question I wanted to ask you guys, just as a fun discussion we can close this pod with, is what your favorite endings are all time, because I think Red Dead Redemption stands out as some people's like, obviously it's a sad ending, but as like an iconic ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll throw Richard, if you want to share whatever first, but favorite endings, boss fights at the end, whatever.
I got like a 1-2 with Prince of Persia, the 2008 remake, and Dragon Quest 11. I'm kind of a fan of dour endings, not necessarily dour endings, but endings where like, not happy ending. In Prince of Persia's instance, you succeed, but it's one of those you succeed at what cost type situations. The unfortunate thing is because nobody could handle it at the time, they had to release like an extra DLC that fixed the ending, but suppose for those. But like in Dragon Quest XI's ending, for the OG ending, once you like defeat the final boss, it's kind of this like everybody standing around, and it's like, what do we do now? And it's like, well, I guess we just go home, because and it wasn't in a bad way, but it was more of the idea that like, if you were, and I've said this before, if you were going to go fight like a final monster somewhere, like no one would be around to watch you do it. Like, unless it's like in unless you're in the Avengers or something,
sure.
But in this world, like this high fantasy world, like no one would be there to watch you do it. So if you did it, like who would know? Like who would really care?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, okay.
You need to watch Return of the King.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. One day, maybe.
Sorry.
I'll put it
there
aside.
is a scene that, and I won't spoil anything, but there is a scene in Return of the King that you are describing right now, and you don't even know it.
Does the king return? God damn it.
Multiple kings return. That's why you gotta watch this movie, man. Anyway, sorry. That's interesting though. That is a dour way and like a sort of a realistic way.
Yeah.
I've never played the Dragon Quest series, but yeah, that's one of those things that you hear from like veterans a lot. There's that famous line in Rambo where I was in charge of $1 million equipment. It's like coming back from some adventure or some war, and it's like you lose a purpose and suddenly you're just back.
Yeah.
After experiencing something traumatic or whatever, and it's like you got to figure out how to adjust. That is a really interesting way to end something, yeah, and not totally happy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say.
Are we going one by one, or do we list all of them?
I don't know. Okay. I was just gonna go next.
Just riff.
Probably my favorite. Maybe my favorite ending of all time is Uncharted 4.
Oh yeah,
because, and spoilers all around for everything we're talking about, but because Nathan gets right up to the brink of like losing everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the last moment, he sort of jumps ship to, if as it were, and I think Rafe is probably the best villain of the entire Uncharted series, because Rafe to me is the most defined, because he is the evil Drake. In Star Trek, he's the mirror Kirk, right?
Yeah.
He's Nathan Drake, but if Nathan Drake, instead of being this guy who kind of gets close to doing bad things but doesn't exactly cross that line, Chloe is more in the middle, Rafe crosses it, right? And so Rafe is sort of his auntie,
his foil,
yeah. And at the end, there's just that at their final confrontation, their final fight. I just remember when Rafe is angry with Drake because everything's the ship is on fire, everything's falling, and Rafe goes through that Nathan Drake who found the Rubu Kali Desert and stuff, and is angry. And one, that's cool because it's like, yeah, Drake did all that stuff, but it's this massive hit of nostalgia because you're like, holy shit, I was there for all these adventures leading up to this moment, right? Which is just so good. So there's that. There's you get this appreciation for the entire series right at the end and everything that you have been with Drake in and all the adventures and stuff like that. And then it's like, yeah, to see that he turned it around. He and shit. What's his wife's name? Ellie? Ellie? Is it Ellie?
No, it's not Ellie.
No, that's Last of Us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Elena.
Thank you.
Elena.
There's too many E's. He and Elena have a kid and all that, and just that entire ending where Drake is like, they're like, is it time to tell her and whatever? And there's the funny line. Wait, what kind of talk are we talking about here? You know, but the camera pans and you see the picture from the first game where it's Sully, Elena, and Drake, and then you see him and Sam when they were kids, and then you see in letters Sic Parvis Magna, which means greatness from small beginnings, right? And the last thing that happens in Uncharted is it breaks the fourth wall, because you see that and then it cuts to black and Naughty Dog is there. And it's just like, that's just perfect. Greatness from small beginnings. You had this funny little studio that did these funny little games, and here we are, like, 15 years after that, and they put together just some incredible they're
adventure. The peak of storytelling in our gaming industry.
And so to me, that stretch, that the last 30 minutes of Uncharted 4 is just perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of, there's a bunch of other endings in games I like, but in terms of it constantly hitting little notes of good, and then just an incredible finish with the Uncharted theme happening at the end. For me, it's Uncharted 4. Connor.
I'm going to have to go with Mass Effect 2.
That's a good one.
Very good one.
Yeah, the lead up to the final fight with your companions and having to make decisions, and whether decisions being made are good or bad, ultimately affecting the outcome of the the game.
Yeah.
I feel really tied up that story very well.
Richard? You got a couple more. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a couple more. The big one, obviously, for me is Halo Reach. That was another singularly told game that I mean, if you ignore anything else, it can just stand alone as a really good story, but a tragic story. But having your ending be playable to an extent, especially in a no-win situation, is very effective. Being one of the stand-in characters, we got a lot of, when we play games, we have a lot of your character doesn't talk, you're just a stand-in, but having you as that character be kind of the epitome of noble team, at the end is very poetic.
Because you were the newest member, and at the end, you're the last one standing.
You're the last one,
yeah.
And you're standing on your own terms, so that one's
It reminds me that game reminds me a lot of Saving Private Ryan.
Sure,
because it's you meet this team, you're the Upham of the group, and it's at the end of Saving Private Ryan, Upham kills the German, and it's he goes through this transformation. Obviously, when you join Noble Team, you're already a Spartan, so you're already a badass.
Right,
but it's but you go through this transformation where you're the odd man out, similar to ODST, I guess.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's you gain this respect because now you're the last man standing, kind of a thing. Yeah. Connor, you were gonna say something?
I love that people always think about Noble Six as being the last member of Noble Team when June made it out alive.
That's right. June made it out alive.
Did
that's
he?
right. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Yes.
Oh, I forgot about
He
that.
gets out on a
He
pelican.
does. That's right.
Everyone forgets about June.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. All right. I even forgot about it.
No, that's right. I do remember. Yes.
Well, I wonder why they didn't kill him off. That's so weird.
I think he does die later.
Halsey.
Yeah. He finds Halsey, I think, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that just ruined Halo Reach for me.
You and the rest of Noble Team die so that him and Halsey can leave.
Okay, and the chief can leave because the chief's in that.
Yeah.
But okay, well, all right, never mind. You're not Upham. You're Matt Damon. That's who you are.
Yeah.
No. Okay. That's actually a really good one. Now mine suck. No, I'm just kidding. The ending of Dragon Age Inquisition is really good. when I think it's one of the DLCs. I don't remember it's the DLC or the main game, but there's this ending shot where it's a very TV show type ending. You have all your companions and you're standing out on a balcony and you're looking at this vista or something. And one at a time, your companions turn around and leave. And so until it's just you left. And I believe what happens is your romance comes and joins you at the balcony. And that's how Dragon Age Inquisition.
Okay.
It's just a really good ending like shot there. The Witcher Blood and Wine. I don't know if you guys have ever finished Blood and Wine.
No, I never did.
Do you care about spoilers?
No.
Nope.
Are you sure? Because this is one that I don't know if I would want to spoil for you guys.
Okay.
Go for
It's
it.
just a quick line. It's not like a big deal. But the last thing that Geralt says and does in Blood and Wine is really cool. And it's again a fourth wall breaking thing.
Okay.
I won't say specifically what it is, but I really appreciated it, especially with all the time you spend with Geralt and the different characters. Geralt's very last line and the last thing he does is as much about you as it is the character, which is really cool. Half-Life 2, I think the ending of Half-Life 2 is probably
That's a dour ending.
that is a dour ending, but that's an ending where it's just it's so mysterious and weird.
That's a District 9 ending.
Yeah. Time, Mr. Freeman.
Yeah.
Is it really that time again? Just like, oh, so good. Of course, it picks right back up in Half-Life 2 Episode 1.
No, it picks up in Skibbity Toilet.
but that Half-Life 2 ending is still God. And then this one I refuse to spoil, but the ending of Half-Life Alyx I will not spoil.
Oh no, I do know the ending of that.
But the ending of Half-Life Alyx is also a big deal. Connor, any others?
Red Dead 2.
Yeah, Red Dead.
Yeah.
2. Yeah, that is a great ending. I will say that.
And that's an ending that is.
gotta play that.
I will say-
which ending?
I was about to say, I'm gonna say the game ending, not the epilogue. I think the game without the epilogue's ending is a better game.
Really?
Yeah, it is fun to play as John in the world, but this was Arthur's story, not John's story. John got his own story.
That is a good point. And I will say I did like 2 hours into that epilogue. I was like, I'm fucking bored. I'm so sorry. I know it was set up for like, everything else, which is fine, but yeah, something about it I just couldn't. But once again, it's something that I do want to get back to because, like I said, I give games second chances all the time, and it's not that I hated Red Dead 2. It's there were things about it that it didn't jive with me, but I every time I see somebody talking about it, like online or just even news stories, I always have that like I gotta do it again. I gotta like figure it out. Like something's there that I'm missing. So
I think that ending for me sort of reinforces Red Dead's ultimate tragedy, right?
Sure, yeah.
Because it's about these people trying to escape somewhere. Ostensibly they're trying to get to Guarma or Paradise, right? It's literally Dutch is leading this group of disciples to the promised land, right? There's religious tones, there's all kinds of stuff. But so there's like a hint of not a hint, there's a lot of tragedy because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Partially because of the first game. And even if you don't play the first game, you can already tell Dutch is not fully honest or
he's a false prophet.
Yeah, he's a false prophet, exactly. So it's like there's this long tragedy that's going to happen because none of these people are going to be able to escape. So think Godfather, think Hamlet, right? Where it's just like that these people are. Think Othello. It's very Shakespearean, where you just see somebody who is sort of a good person, not a bad person. You can tell that things are happening around them, and they don't realize it, and you just slowly watch it crumble on the side. But that the epilogue is sort of the. I really liked it because it shows John almost escaping, right? Arthur dies, John literally picks himself, it's very American, picks himself up by the bootstraps, he works as a farmhand, he eventually gets a loan from a bank, buys a house, builds the house himself. It's like this perfect American story, but his original sins come back to haunt him, right? And that's the tragedy of it, is eventually those things he can't escape.
Yeah.
So he literally cannot escape. Like they can't escape, the group in Red Dead 2 can't escape the coming tide of like industrial capitalism and stuff like that. And then by Red Dead 2, the things that they did cause repercussions that John can't escape. And anyway, super sad. Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Anything else, Richard?
Metal Gear 3. Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, damn. That's a good one.
Yeah, having an objective to take down your former like master as they
that's a good one. How did I not think of that?
Yeah, and have them, you know, making deals with the enemy during the Cold War era, only to like find out at the end that the government you were working for, you know, of course,
it's just as bad.
Yeah, is just as bad as not worse, causing the start of the entire series. You know, the entire series with boss becoming big boss and terrorizing people with outer heaven, and oh man,
and they made those flowers look good.
Yeah, they did.
The PS2
baby
was an impressive piece of hardware.
Still is.
Those flowers, man. Those flowers looked so good. Connor, anything else you want to highlight?
God of War 2018.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree.
That's another good one.
Oh my god, it's a good one.
God of War 2018, and I would say God of War Ragnarok. They both have really good endings. I'm trying to remember.
I gotta get all the rest of this. I gotta do the rest of the stuff in Ragnarok, but yeah.
God of War Ragnarok, I think, was a little bit more hopeful because 2018 sets up Ragnarok.
2018 though was very, very good with all the reveals and just the kind of the completion of the goal at the end is like, obviously you beat the game, but just it was very satisfying and very.
For a few quick ones, real quick, since the update where they added an epilogue, Baldur's Gate 3 is really good. Before the epilogue, it ended and you said bye to your companions and that was it. Now there's an epilogue where after you beat the game, there's like you all get together for one last like dinner together. Mm-hmm. Really nice. You get to talk with all your companions. It's like, thank God. So you can get to learn like what they've all been doing and stuff like that. Pillars of Eternity at the very end, it ends abruptly, but it does a good job of telling you what all your companions go off to do, which I really appreciate. And then the ending of Fear. I don't know if you guys remember the ending of Fear, but the ending of Fear takes place in this abandoned city, and a nuclear bomb goes off, or like a nuclear reactor goes off. So there's a big explosion. So you walk out into this street at the end of Fear, and you're trying to get away because you know this bomb is about to go off. And way down the street, you see it go off. And slowly but surely, things start to fly. And eventually, you're pushed against a fence as like the shockwave comes. Yeah. Screen goes black. And then your character wakes up and is looking at the sky, and you see a helicopter, and the helicopter picks you up, and you're up in the sky now, and you're like circling this mushroom cloud, and you're with the characters that survived, and everyone's like, we're gonna do it. So clearly, it's like it's in the middle of something. And then the lights in the helicopter blink, and you see Alma climb into the helicopter, and it cuts to black. Oh. And it's like, oh man, that's awesome. Such a good ending. The ending of Fear.
Total sci-fi horror.
Ending. Anything else, Connor?
No.
Richard?
Real quick, Braid. Braid had a really good ending.
You could take your time if you want. It doesn't have to be real quick.
Oh, okay. Did you ever beat Braid?
No, I've never played it.
Ooh.
I'll play it.
Are you gonna play it?
Is it that good?
It's subversive. I'm gonna tell you. Well, Braid is a platformer puzzle game. Yeah. It's not very long, but it deals with with rewinding time. And at the end, I will say that there's a very big twist that turns everything up on its head.
I think okay.
And it's
Can you play it on Steam Deck?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The anniversary edition just came out, so.
Alrighty.
But yeah, it was a very, very good, very fun game. Mafia 2 had a really good ending.
Damn.
And Mafia 2's ending is very much like you said, like Goodfellas and whatnot. You, the entire game is you and your best friend doing mafia stuff, but eventually your best friend kind of betrays the mob, and I mean, not like, you know, you can't betray the mob no matter what. Like, you're dead if you do.
Sure.
And anyways, when you get released from prison, what you do, like, you and him both get into like your cars, like with the mob bosses and whatnot, and you're both driving, and then at one point your friend is in the other car, that car goes off somewhere else, and then and he's like, oh, is Joe, you know, is he gonna be with us? And he's just like, no, he's not coming with us. And then that's just like,
and that's it.
Yeah, and then that look of realization, like, it just focuses on the realization of like the main character and whatnot, and then that's it.
Very Sopranos. Yeah.
Very, very good. And Alan Wake.
Oh, god damn it, you're right. 1 and 2. This was something I knew I was gonna forget.
Yeah, Alan Wake 1 more specifically, but I love Alan Wake 2's ending, but Alan Wake 1's ending, especially for 2009, was very how immersive the game was. Finding those pages, having to like intently listen to them, listening to Alan, Matthew Porretta's voice as Alan.
God, I love those games so much.
Just sitting there and being like, oh yeah, it's so good. But doing everything that you're supposed to, trying to get Alice back, and then, yeah, at the end, that single line, it's not a lake, it's an ocean, and the realization that the thing you're fighting is not contained to the place you're in, it's everywhere, and you're not going to escape it. Of course, it could have been left there, and it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, having Alan Wake 2 is definitely cathartic.
God, yeah, Alan Wake. Oh,
and
man.
I do have to play it. I still haven't played the DLCs for it.
I'm going to have to as well. I'm going to have to play the DLCs, and I'm going to pick up Xbox Game Pass because there's going to be a bunch of games coming out over the next like few months. And I'm going to try my best. I'm going to focus on beating Quantum Break.
Oh, yeah.
Because I played it a little bit, was enjoying it, but I need to like power through it and beat it. I want to play through Control again because Control 2 is going to be a thing. Yeah. But man, Alan Wake 2, God, such a good, unique horror game. That Matthew, just the whole cast, everybody,
cast,
and that goddamn game, just so good. Okay, anything else we want to mention before we get out of here? Comment with your favorite ending.
I'm gonna run through my tidbits real quick.
Oh yeah, you have tidbits. Oh god, oh man, where's the Connor? Which one is tidbits?
The one that says
one that says tidbits.
Oh, it's little bits. What if I told you?
They're tid.
In this world, there are bits, and there are tids, and Richard is the only man who can put them together into tidbits.
Alrighty, I'm going to run through these a little quickly.
Go ahead.
I got 3 of them, sorry. Kind of somewhat announced earlier today, Indiana Jones will release on PC and Xbox Series as a timed exclusive. It will then make its way to PS5 in the first half of 2025.
Okay.
Ninja Theory apparently made $23 million in the year of 2023, in which they did not release any games. They didn't do anything, but their financial statements came out. Yeah, they made $23 million. Apparently, the agreed, like, oh, this is probably it, was that their mocap technology. For
do they license it out?
I think they do, yeah.
Oh, okay, good for them.
So that's probably where that came from. And then this one is a rumor, but on the Xbox Era podcast, Special Nick claimed that Microsoft is trying real hard to relicense Deadpool and the Marvel Ultimate Alliance series games for Xbox and PC. Those games licenses went away a long time ago. And for Marvel Ultimate Alliance, you can still find those games. There was an Xbox One version, like an enhanced version, that was released for a very short amount of time and then taken away. But Deadpool specifically, was the license ran out back in like 2014, and due to Deadpool and Wolverine, that game is now like $150. So yeah, I hope they relicense that.
Was the Deadpool game like a God of War hack and slash? Or?
Nah, it was more like
I never played it. I know it's popular. I know a lot of people liked it.
Like a 7 out of 10. You know, like it's a standard level based.
Okay.
Action shooter. You
Gotcha.
know, I mean, not bad. If you like Deadpool, it's good. You know, whatnot. But moving on, kind of somewhat sort of related. Franchises are like a blessing and a curse. You know, Alien Isolation though has seen a 320% increase in players after the release of Alien Romulus. Of course, it's a common occurrence with license-based games, especially
Sure.
Obviously, just talked about Deadpool.
Yep.
Pokemon does this every now and again. Pokemon always stays popular, but there's always something every like 2 or 3 years that like makes it go.
Pokemon Go, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, Call of Duty does it too. Call of Duty is more due to like
different wars the United States starts.
Iraq,
of course, Afghanistan.
Yeah, no, we're moving on to Desert Storm soon. But I not like necessarily revisionist history, but it's as we get older and time goes on, things that Infinite Warfare sucked. That game is ass. Now people are coming in like, that game was great. And it's like, no, okay. But it's because they played it at a specific time in their age.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of going. So, like, the backwards compatibility did it for Call of Duty a couple years back. But now it's just a matter of who talks about it at what time that gets everybody riled up to come back.
Can I pitch you my idea for an Alien Isolation sequel?
Sure.
So, okay. I've always thought it would be cool if you took Alien Isolation, you take all of the structure, right? So it's basically the same thing. You run from the xenomorph, you get these big long sections where you have to like hide and evade it. You get the shorter sections where there's human enemies and you can like whatever. Okay, but I think what needs to be done is you get weapons. So you get like a what's that? I can't think of the word.
The BFG.
The gun that the Marines use.
The assault rifle.
The assault rifle.
The kind of,
you get the assault rifle, and the assault rifle can kill an alien, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But it like takes a ton of ammo, and you have really, really limited ammo. So it's like, so let's say there's a part of the game where you have to sneak around the alien. You're on a space station somewhere.
Okay.
And it's like, I have to go back into this medical room to get medicine, and I know there's an alien patrolling around there. So it's like, what I'll do is I'll take my assault rifle and I'll throw a noisemaker and like lure the alien into a trap, and I'll just shoot it to hell with my assault rifle. Uses a ton of bullets, but the alien is dead now. So like this area of the map is safe, but there's aliens in like the other areas of the map. So it's not a super original concept, but something like that, you know, where you sort of mix because. And they did kind of do this. If you shoot the alien with your pistol, it'll run away. It doesn't die. And there's multiple aliens in Alien Isolation. But it would be cool if you could or with Big Daddies, how you would like set up traps and kill them. Yeah. And then that area was safe from a Big Daddy.
I wish I got a great ending too.
Right? So it's like, wouldn't it be neat if there were areas of the map where it's like, you find like an airlock and it's like, oh, maybe I can lure the alien in here and rid this area of the map of an alien or something like that. That's my pitch. Will you fund me? I need $50 million.
Go talk to Nintendo because that's a Metroid idea, buddy. Okay. But no, your sectionalized thinking is very Metroidvania-esque, but which fits because they've done it already. It's called Alien Infestation on Nintendo DS. It was.
Oh, really?
It was a Metroidvania, but it was aliens.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. It was.
I need to play this.
But I don't think you do exactly. Like,
well,
it's more actiony, obviously. But you could. I would have to probably. You could figure it out yourself, but like there is a DS emulator on the Steam Deck, and you can make it so that like your screen size is bigger than your like.
Yeah, I think I've had it set up before.
So you could probably do that. Yeah.
Cool.
That one was a good. Sorry, difficult too, as it should be, because Alien.
Yeah, that's my pitch. Anyway,
I like it. I love it.
Okay, cool. What's next?
No, that's it.
Okay. We've gone long, so we'll just end this. Follow us Twitter and Facebook, YouTube. Don't go.
Blue Sky.
No, Blue Sky. Go to Blue Sky Gaming Discourse, where I post memes, and they're the best memes. I cannot wait for Nick Cage to play John Madden. That's going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Brett Favre. I can't do John Madden's Brett Favre.
That's right.
You can only Brett Favre.
We'll call Frank Caliendo. We'll have him do it.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye.